Okay, I just want to check in quickly before we're going to start an informal showing in about 10 minutes. So, we're in the eighth session of the session plan, which is crafting. It's kind of going according to plan and kind of not. I didn't, and I wrote about this in my critical inquiry for the last module. I didn't take into consideration how much time it takes to prepare to show the work, um, and how much time that takes away from actually making the work or doing the exercises or acquiring the tools to be able to make what we're trying to make. So that's one thing. The show is next week. It opens next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. We're gonna finish it hopefully tomorrow and Thursday, which really puts us up against right up against tech, which is not my favorite way to go into a show, but unfortunately, it's typically fine. uh, I'm looking at my session plan. I see that I really wanted to have this buffer time of like participants demonstrating their knowledge and leading warm up and different aspects of the class, which we won't be able to do because we haven't been spending as much time building those technical aspects of the practice. They have been built in, but it hasn't been instructional. It's been warm up to warm up. So it hasn't been a lot of corrections about form or, of course, when we're going through things, you always give people reminders and intention behind their movement and verbal cues about what you should be thinking about and um, how to execute the movement in the most efficient way. But it hasn't been like class where you learn, um, which is fine. But I had hoped that they would have been at that place by this time. But they've also done an extreme amount of work in other areas and other focus areas of the project. So I'm not too disappointed about it. It's a thing I can build more intention into in the next iteration of this idea. But I won't. It's okay. Um, and they have been learning form through our daily class warm up. Um, so it's getting there. It just isn't looking the way that I thought it was going to look, which is fine. Um, Anything else today? I was really impressed. I can't remember what the last video, how in depth I went into what we did the last time before I left for out of town. But when I came back, I was really inspired by the work that the participants did in crafting that section of the dance based on the folk tale. Um, I so we molded that into uh, molded it into the movement yesterday and kind of formed it so that it will flow nicely and that everyone's part is showcased. Um, and it really went well. Their embodiment of the folk tale, their ability to go back, look at the document and see like what do we say about the moon? What do we say about the characteristics of the wolf? What do we say about the characteristics of the whatever the third thing was? And being able to choose their gestures that will tell the story, um, and being able to really tease that out. So I was happy to be able to do that yesterday as a group. Um, of course, the first oh, this is what I wanted to talk about. I only have 20 seconds left. Uh, of course, when you say improv, in the beginning, people get very dancey, but then once we were reminded of just breaking it down into what is it that we're doing. You're embodying this character of the folktale. This character of the folktale, we talked about has these characteristics. Think of three gestures that fit those characteristics that you want to elaborate on with your movement and your movement choices. Then once we got to that layer, it was much more, the participants' movement was much more intentional. It was easier to read. It was much more interesting to watch. You could see that they were making different connections based on that type of embodiment. So I could see very clearly in that exercise of improv your part or put together your part. I could see very clearly how surface level dance this story becomes very dancey. Oh, reach, reach. But then when you layer it and layer it and layer it, and root it or ground it in embodiment, then it has more intent. So it was very cool to see that in real time, like happen, like within 3 runs of the dance. So that's all for me. Thanks.